Hi, today is Saturday, May 27th, 2017, and this is a Swede Speaks. And as you can see, I have a guest today. Uh, so, this is my friend, the Reverend Julius, whom I attend church with. So maybe you could say just a few words about yourself.
Hi everyone, thank you. My name is Julius. As the Swede has well said it, I come from Uganda, the beautiful country known as the Pearl of Africa. I've been here at Oslo for about 2 years, and it's been much pleasure to have a Swedish friend as you see him, and to be part of his uh, channel, The Sweet Speak. It's been interesting to follow his programs. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. There are there are a few things that maybe that I would like to know, and maybe also the people looking at this would like to know.
Yeah.
So I wonder, what is your experience of being a Christian from the West Nile area, being a Christian in Scandinavia?
Yes, I was born in a Christian family. My mother and father are practicing Christians, and that meant I was Christianized right from the time when I was an infant. And I thank the Lord that He called me, even as I kept going to church, but He called me beyond that to have a relationship with Him. And for me, that is really very, very basic to ensure my spiritual sustainability here in Oslo. Uh, my experience in this country has been so much with Christian friends. I have had so many lovely Christian friends, both at school and at church, and these are people who I mostly interact with. And I, of course, have had some few cultural shocks when I came to Oslo. There are things which were very weird culturally to me, but basically, my Christian practice here has met very little challenges. Reason being because I have related well with much of my Christian friends. I have constant fellowship like you, my sweet friend, and many others. But that does not mean, you know, always bread and butter. Of course, I have interacted with Christians who believe otherwise certain things that I do. For example, I've got I met the very first week I was here in Oslo. I met a woman who interestingly came to church because an African priest from Malawi was preaching, and after church, she took us for lunch, and then in our conversations, she tells us she believes Jesus was there, but she doesn't believe that Jesus rose from the dead.
Oh,
So that was a little bit very interesting to me, especially being my first week in Oslo. Uh, in addition to that, I have also met very interesting practicing Christians here in Oslo who do not believe in the existence of evil spirits or demons, which, of course, for me, who comes from an African context, uh, and biblically, the Bible has talked about demons, evil spirits, and so I believe they do exist, but I've met very interesting Christians here who don't believe that. So, yeah, briefly, I think my Christian life and the practice of my Christian faith here has not really met so much challenge because much of my friends are practicing Christians. On the other side, of course, I've met professors who basically are, of course, theologians in the Church of Norway, but of course, I will really read the very liberal nature of their theology, and oftentimes we've got a lot of debates, very interesting debates in our classes. Yeah.
That would be interesting to hear, as you know, and as I think most of the people watching know by now. I'm not very liberal when it comes to faith either. Uh, could you that was your cultural shock, the faith, or did you experience any other? Could you mention one or two cultural shocks you experienced by coming to Oslo?
Well, of course, in my culture, generally, you will never find two people intimately kissing in a public, maybe in a bus stop, or maybe even at a watch of somebody. Nobody will really certainly do that in my culture, because caressing or kissing intimately like that is meant to be behind curtains. So so that's really a very big cultural shock to me when I say it's business usual here. That
I see. They would keep it in private. I see.
Yeah.
Well, in some cases, maybe people should do that here too. I was also wondering if we are going to talk more specifically about Uganda and East Africa.
Sure.
Do you have any thoughts on the possibilities and challenges, and maybe especially when it comes to faith and theology, what is going on in that part of the world?
Christianity came to Uganda in 1887. So that's quite about 100 years plus now, and you will expect by now Christianity to have grown both in width and in depth. But somebody one time says that Christianity in Africa is a mile wide but an inch deep, meaning that this is a church that has grown much in quantity, but not so much in quality, and so that really is a challenge, but also an opportunity, because there is need, to make the church, even the church in Africa, to be rooted, to be rooted in the faith and to grow as even as much as in quality, but also in quantity, but also in quality, and so that provides an open opportunity for missions. But we still have people groups in Africa, especially in East Africa, that are largely not reached by the gospel. And for me, that is an important opportunity for people to be able to take the gospel to those who have not yet known the Lord Jesus. Of course, Africans, before they received the gospel, they were religious. In every practice of an African is religious. And so there is a challenge of syncretism, which is so much in the church in Africa, where the culture in its very, I will say, in its very rudimental kind of way is being, married together with the gospel. And so the point and the significance for the gospel is a little bit watered down, and you don't see really the transformation that the gospel is rather expected to deliver. So I think with the church in Africa and support from elsewhere, I think the church in Africa can still be made to grow even in depth as much as it has grown in width. Of course, we have so many challenges affecting the church. Of course, poverty is a very big issue in Africa, and of course, where people are poor, there is a way. Of course, poverty can draw somebody to God, but also there is a way that poverty can force somebody to do anything. And so in Africa, we have some of these growing pastors with very large followings that are extorting. They're believers. They pray for you in accordance to how much money you have given, so that they can pray for you. Of course, this is not in the mainline churches. Basically, in the uprising Pentecostal churches, which is a theological challenge. right now, especially in Uganda.
It sounds like this could be related to, what would you call it, progress gospel, something like
Yes,
that.
the prosperity gospel is a very big problem
Yes.
in the Ugandan culture, in the Ugandan context, but even beyond that, maybe across Africa, where you know people look at the at particular points of the gospel or of the word of God, and then they use that not really to bring the salvation which I will say Christ has brought, but just to preach material gains.
Yes.
And yeah, so that is for me, that's a very big challenge that I think shouldn't be.
Yes.
Yeah.
That sounds like a big challenge.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm just going to comment. There was interesting you talk about the church being, what did you say, a mile
A
wide?
mile wide and an inch deep.
Yes.
Yes.
Because yesterday I made a video about the Christianization process of Sweden.
Okay.
And actually, if you look at, well, Sweden was first reached, or the first gospel came to Sweden in the 9th century, but then the Swedes paid very little interest. And then it started more to get spread in the late 10th and early 11th century, but it took at least to the 12th century before you can talk about the majority of Swedes having some kind of Christian identity. So it took at least a century or a little more. So
Okay.
it's a process that I think if you study the history of different countries, you will see that this process takes some time to get rooted in the culture.
Yeah. Just like sanctification takes a process.
Yes.
So maybe, hopeful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we hope and pray for Uganda and for East Africa, just like every other part of the world. I would like to, before we finished, I would like to ask you a little, about your daily work, your professional work, and I also know that you write some things on a blog and you have written a few books.
Yes. I'm a pastor in the Anglican Church of Uganda, and so that is my primary call, my primary career, my primary job is a pastor in the Anglican Church. I so much love to make the gospel known to people, and I do a lot of preachings back at home in Uganda, and I'm glad that I have opportunity even to do that here in Oslo at St. Edmund's Church. Of course, I do this also through daily devotions, which I publish on my Facebook, and also I do publish it on my blog, the New Dawn Ministries. I make sure that I write a daily devotion that I can post on my blogs, and also I so far published 2 books, and the 3rd book, by the way, the title is Suffering and Pain. Be not anxious, God is in control. The book will be live from tomorrow, May 28th, on Amazon Kindle.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
And I will include a link for that, for your blog.
Sure.
In the description below. And
Okay.
I have I have 2 of your books here.
Yeah.
And the first one, I must get married, but how do I get
there? Yes. Yeah.
I have read this one recently.
Okay.
And I would say that I recommend everyone who is pursuing to get a relationship, or who has a relationship and who tries to figure out how to get married. I recommend everyone to read this, and I know you're working on a new version. Was that right?
Yes, I'm working. This version is not yet on purchase from Amazon, but in about a month's time, I should be able to make the newer version available.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also have this one. I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but I've looked a little at it, and it looks interesting.
Sure.
So maybe you could say a few words about this one.
This book is Triumphing Over Odds. In my life, I've learned that really, for you to be able to achieve your visions, your dreams, you will obviously meet challenges on your way. And those are the challenges you meet, the things which will otherwise make it hard for you to achieve your dreams, are what I call odds on your way. So this book will inspire you to be able to overcome the odds on your way to achieve great. And it's a very interesting book. It's on YouTube. I mean on Amazon.
Yes.
You can get both the Kindle version or the paperback version very cheaply on Amazon.
Okay, that's very good to know.
Yeah.
So I will also include a link to Amazon, to the where you can pick up that book either in paperback or as a Kindle version.
True. Yeah.
So I would like to thank you for coming here.
Thank you so much.
And God bless you.
God bless you too.
So thank you very much for coming here today.
Thank you.
And I look forward to meeting you in church tomorrow.
Sure. Tomorrow is Sunday, and I hope you too, who is listening to this Sweet Speak, you will find time to be able to always go and fellowship in the church.
Yes, that's right. You need a fellowship.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, that's all we have to say about this today. And I would like to thank the people who are supporting this channel through prayers, through Patreon, through PayPal. That's all greatly appreciated. And if you like this channel, please subscribe so you don't miss anything. I upload videos every day except Sundays, because on Sundays I rest. And if you got something to say, feel free to comment. If you like this video, please like it. And please share this or other of my videos on social media, on Facebook or Twitter or other kinds of social media which allows you to share. And I would of course also like to encourage you to support this channel. And I will include all the necessary information in the information box below. This is A Sweet Speaks. Have a nice day.